First lesson for the day is about batteries. Swap out your battery before it dies. Keep an eye on the meter as you're doing a longer shoot. And in many cases, if you're doing longer segments, you don't want the camera to suddenly die in the middle because it breaks your flow. It's an interruption. And so if instead you notice it's low, you can take a break when you're between shots or something, and you can somehow change it out so that the failure of the battery doesn't happen outside of your planning. So that's less efficient, of course, because you could get a little more juice out of that battery. But it's better to have too many batteries and then be ready to swap them out. See the difference? It depends on how you shoot, of course. But the way I shoot, I don't like it if I'm talking for 20 minutes about something and all of a sudden, right now, it cuts off. And then I have to edit it. Because I really like the idea of doing shots like this one, where it's all the way through, no editing. Going straight to publishing solves a huge number of problems. And so if you can get good at that, that's great. I think it's dangerous to rely on the editors. Editing is a huge amount of work, and you may be the one doing it, and you may never get around to it. Like I have lots of footage that I have not gotten around to editing the video. And so my point is that the sudden failure of a battery actually creates the need to edit to a greater degree. So swap those batteries out and have more than you need of them. I would say 4 is the minimum for most things if you're really here to document stuff. And of course, I really like when people do that. Doing a couple of clips a day, not that interesting. Watch your batteries. I do a lot of handheld video where I hold the camera, Jesus, and I record myself. And that's cool. And that works really well. I recommend getting really good at it because you're an available cameraman on yourself, and you're probably the best cameraman for you. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the benefits of having a tripod. One thing is when I'm recording myself in my hand, I lose a hand. I'm now disabled from doing things. Sometimes there's things that need 2 hands that I want to show to the camera and I can't do it. So I do an awkward thing to show it to you down there. It's not the best. Tripods are extra work to set up. It's more, get good at doing a handheld. I'm all for it. Become an expert. But the times to use tripod is right now I just set the camera on a shelf. And so we may expand our vision of what a tripod is. But having a tripod allows you to set the camera down and do an interview with someone. And so that's, if you have more than one person in the shot, it's a great idea. If it's going to be a long shoot, definitely. Handheld has its benefits. But, we could also use the tripod as an establishing shot. If we were shooting a fire pit, for example, with people talking and things, we would set up tripods around it with cameras to get the overall shot. And we'd have individuals going in and targeting in on particular characters in that particular scene. Let's say it was a group discussion or something. So I like pretty lightweight tripods generally. And the other thing I can do here is to build things which work as places at the right level, at eye height for people, this tall to that tall, different shelves that they can put their cameras at, and it doesn't have to be perfect for them, but, and then you don't need the tripod. You just set it on the shelf, and it's a secure shelf. That shelf could be built in as part of a sculpture, or an oasis that is a place for birds. It could just be built actually pointing at, this would be better, pointing at really neat spots to be. And so if you have a spot you can put your camera, usually I'm thinking level with a person in this case, but the sunset, we want spots for people to put their cameras. And so we could actually just build something that they can easily set their camera on, and then maybe they can adjust it with little pieces of wood or something. But yeah, right now I'm just using a shelf. It's great. Back to tripods. Do you need to bring one? Sure, we need more tripods. Bring one to donate. Buy one that completely works at a thrift store. That's a great way to get them. You could buy one retail and bring it down, use it, and then leave it here. Or you could take it home. Make sure to keep our tripods separate from your tripods. We will mark our tripods. I suggest you mark your tripod, and that way you don't lose your tripod. Because if we have a lot of tripods around, it's like a bicycle or something. Maybe somebody borrows it incorrectly. I do have tripods here that I can lend out. And so far I've done that fairly informally. I haven't lost a lot of property lending things out, but I've lost some. And so in the future, in a more complex world, you would check it out and there would be a deposit. They have your ID and stuff. And that way we can trust you with more stuff. We can trust you with a tripod. But if you're serious about videography, even if you were traveling, I've backpacked. I backpacked through Mexico in 2000. That's the first exposure I had to Mexico. And I did not bring a tripod, I believe. And I think that of all the things I could have brought with my new way of doing things, because I was doing a lot of still photography, rarely doing video. In fact, not at all, really. I just didn't have the cards for it and stuff, and I wasn't as experienced either. Now I think that I would go with way more batteries and chargers and solar panel now for charging the batteries, because sometimes you're traveling. I would want a solar panel I could hang off the back of my backpack if I felt like that was a good time to do that. And I would have a tripod. A tripod allows, like right now, I can be more of a person in the scene. This is where I'm living right now. Instead of just being a face in your face. Both have their benefits, I suppose. So get access to a tripod somehow. I would recommend getting your own tripod and start experimenting with it. Start recording your own life. If you're interested in the Bosque experience as a potential in your future. But I also think it's just useful to you regardless of the Bosque. This is just general advice. Yeah, I'm pro tripod, and I realize there's a lot of times you don't want to carry it, but think about the things you could accomplish if you did have a tripod. That's my thought. So, if you're using a tripod, there's something odd, and I often just do stuff. I don't think about it. I don't want to be bothered. In this case, right? In this particular case, I've got the shoe for a tripod. This goes onto the tripod. And you have to push this little flappy thing that you use to turn it down before you do it. Otherwise it won't go in. And you're like, why doesn't it go in? It's because this little flappy thing is up. Now this is only on this tripod. Your tripod's different. I have a bigger point, even if that's not how yours works. There's two things on this. There's a screw here. I don't know if that's an eighth of an inch or what. And then there's a little button here. That button goes into a little hole here. So it's not just screwing in. The button should go in there as well. And that is to keep it from moving around. Because we don't want the camera sliding around on the shoe. We want to use the tripod to control it. And I didn't know this for a long time. You can do it without putting the little thing in the hole. But it'll slide around more. This slides a tiny bit. I'll tighten up a bit more. Not too tight. So that's how you put the shoe on there. Some of them it matters which direction it is. This one is longer from front to back, and I think that's how I remember it working. I'll grab the tripod. And then I grab the tripod head, right? Now, if I'm shooting myself, I actually have the camera point at me and the handle's on this side. So I have access to the handle. If I was shooting somebody else, or I was going to go around to the other side of the camera and be in the shot with somebody else, then I would position it forward. Okay, see how easy that is? Now that's for shooting someone else. And then this way, if I point it at me, I have better access to the handle. Part of it just fell off. I think this screw was a little too unscrewed. Whoa. That's annoying. This screw just came out of here. Well, I will wonder about that in a few minutes. I'm trying not to lose this screw. You can level them out real easy. You can use that using the legs, and I often do that. But there's also one up here, and you can go one direction. So you could have it be a little bit too leaning one way on the tripod, and then you could use this to adjust level. I'm not particular about level that much. Right now, this camera is not even perfectly level, and I just don't care. Lean your head if you want. How far away to put it depends. The wider angle it is, the more stuff you get out here. I'm currently in a very wide angle mode, and so that's going to determine how far the camera is away from you. If I'm filming myself and it's on tripod, I usually want it close enough so that I can reach over and turn it on and off, and that puts me in pretty close. Some cameras do have remotes. My cameras have come with remotes lately. I don't know, if I use a remote, then I got to change the battery and stuff. I'd rather adjust my style to the easiest way of doing things with the least amount of work. On the other hand, a remote would probably be handy in some cases, and I should probably wonder about what cases a remote would be useful in. This one has a handle on it, which is nice. You can carry it. I'm actually going to start using these like a walking stick. And I thought about, rather than using a tripod, because this tripod will fold up like this. See that? And so it really is fairly together, and I could use it as a bit of a walking stick. It's kind of heavy, but I'm carrying a camera anyway, and I can still photograph myself or video myself. I can switch it around, and I'm more stable than normal with my shot because it's not handheld. So I'm using a tripod as a monopod and a walking stick, because I'm currently using a walking stick. Anyway, and who knows, it's almost a weapon, although I don't think I'd want to hit somebody with my camera, since I like my camera so much. This, by the way, is a older camera, Panasonic. It has a wide angle attachment on it because it wasn't wide angle enough the way it came. This is the camera I was using when I fell off the roof in Yotatiro. So unfortunately, this is kind of currently garbage because it doesn't do video. It'll only do audio. And I don't know if that can be fixed or not. I probably should inspect it. This is the first time I've seen it since the accident. It still could be a great camera, actually, but I don't know what's wrong with it. It just got, it fell down with me. So, a scratch mark in the back. Anyway, so there's some thoughts on tripods and stuff and how to use your tripod better. And who knows, maybe you need one, maybe you don't. But I would recommend experimenting with it.